And we're gonna Colonel Randy Kramer will be emceeing the panel itself. I'm just here to provide some introductions and always Winnie the Wonder Dog as we come to the last main panel discussion for day 3 of the 2025 Full Disclosure Law Conference. Before we go into also our third special event dinner. Again, costumes are always highly encouraged, even though we are obviously an event, a very serious content. Let's see. Just up here we have, it's kind of like each person is like.
Are you going to be using his mic, sir? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Each note is very important.
I
Each
think
note
so,
has
yeah.
its own resonance or vibration. And all together, you definitely get much more than kind of the individual parts. So, clearly we have Demi Genet of the Farsight Institute, and when it comes to direct ET contact, it's, they were directly told to benefit.
All right, Colonel Randy, take it away.
Thank you, Brian. I hate those things. All right, sweet. So earlier I said to Brian, hey Brian, since I've done this longer than any of you kids have, this ain't my first rodeo. Let me get in there and show you how to wrangle kittens.
Yeah.
Let me moderate your next panel. So that is why I'm moderating this panel. I don't expect anyone to give me shit. Otherwise it'll be completely pleasant. But my job is simply to give there order and rhythm and continuity without incredibly awkward speed bumps, which, to no one's fault, requires some kitten wrangling. So, if you do not have a proper kitten wrangler with a panel, you're doing it wrong, no offense. So let me get in and show you how it's done, and now we know how to do it. Maybe I'll just be doing this forever. So, hey everybody, how are you doing? So did we start anywhere over here yet?
No, we're not doing that. That's not what's happening.
No. Okay, cool. This is the ancient alien artifacts and chisels, right? Just like I don't have it in front of me. I don't want it to sound like I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Yeah, this thing. Okay, cool. So these are our panel of expertoise in these ancient alien artifacts, which we have several of. This gentleman is quite fascinating. And so we are going to learn some things about these things from these fascinating and wonderful people. Sean, I think you should probably start us off with giving a little bit of background here on where these things are coming from and how they are being acquired. And I'm going to click my imaginary clock to tick.
Thank you. I'm Sean Bones, owner of Sonic League. We've been finding alien artifacts in Mexico. North of Mexico City, there's a place called Tula and Morelos, as well as many other places around the area. They are found more and more by people that have grown up in the area, in private land, and digging into the properties, and they find that shellhead, and they've been working with them. It's like their past life, like brought them there to find them or something. And the more and more are being found, so I think they're also being found in the U.S., like in Arizona. A lot of the Egyptian stuff will be coming during Canyon. A lot of these have Egyptian hieroglyphs and Sumerian stuff, so it seems like the gods were back and forth, a lot of GETs. And so we know a lot of elders and people that are finding these and are on video. It's being spread around like TikTok and stuff. I've been digging them up. So there's thousands being found. So if you want to just prove them, go through all the thousands that are there, and they get carbon dated as the pieces between some of the crystal pieces. Some are found around 1,000, 10,000, 18,000, 19,000 years old as low as I heard. And there's more and more people. It's like a family. They were being turned into the museum.
Okay, hold on a second. You are talking about a legit, rigorous, empirical archaeological find?
Yes.
I just want to stop and point this out that we're talking about real science. Thank you. So empirical rigorous means that if an actual archaeologist was not being a turd, he would have to look at this and the source of where it came from and the data, the concrete data that's telling you how old it is, and give a proper assessment on where something of that age, that origin would have to come from if they were not turds. Could you please explain to me why this is not more well known, i.e. why archaeologists are turds right now?
Hello. The elders have brought these to the museums, and then thank you, and then I didn't museum, and I'm going to show them. So there appears to be a top-down suppression routines. So the next best thing is these artifacts are picking the right people to find them. It's like the ground shifts around, it's giving birth and allows people to find them. It's really weird. Sometimes you won't even find them unless you're the right state of consciousness. Everything shifts around, it's all magical. It is way more. So we're all forming our own museums, forming a family, and expanding them, taking many photographs, evidence, data that can be shared and seen by many people.
How many pieces to date do you think that have been uncovered and found and documented and logged?
Probably, logged. You'll find thousands online. And so probably in the tens of thousands with what I've uncovered. I don't know what logging. A lot of these people have YouTube channels, but they're in Mexico. So the people that are transcending the language barriers seem to do well online more so. But the biggest video got over 1 million views on TikTok for like the uncovering of a big site, pyramids, being found little pyramids, and a big coffin looking thing with ET on it, crossover, all these long skulls being found, all these different species, bird people, like nudist-like beings, many different shapes, even the xenomorphs, like an alien-looking thing, and different grays, and
Why don't you pick an example to show us right there?
We can just pick these up, I guess. If you look up the Russian species book that got leaked, this has an entry that looks like this called the shiny ones, and this glows in UV light and flash on. A lot of them do. It's like metal stone origins being used in combination. This is limestone, iron oxide, some iron oxide is sometimes blood. There's a ceremonial enchantment thing with it, and glowing meteorite called fluorescent.
Keep going, please.
And there's finding spaceships on them, as well as like this one has cone heads, and they emit rare energy like spatial energy. Things that are being venerated have a soul part connection to them, and you can trade with them using like little cell phones to contact the ET they're venerating. Some are older, like this one's made by ETs. There's other generation made by hybrids with type of humanoid, and then other iterations of humanoid down the generation line. It's crazy when you're involved in this. Shaking out of body, it feels like the matrix is breaking, and like the world that we live in is a whole lie, and it's so yeah.
I know this guy here, Mr. Big White and Dark Black Eyes. He's either him. I mean, that was my experience when I held on to it. And another person who was there, I think, also experienced it. So we're just going to go with we thought, you feel later. And definitely had conscious personality traits. How many of these pieces do you feel like have conscious personality traits?
All of them. There's like kind of like a Japanese myth when an object becomes like 100 years old, it means a soul. I would say that's kind of real, and even more so with their origin and how they're made. It's like the maker put a part of himself in it, and like especially really old ones like the crystal skulls. They'll like when I first contacted me, it blasted me with energy like somebody blew in my ear. I'm like, oh, it took a bit to translate. It said, why am I being activated in this time of turmoil? And what do you want from me? And I said, I don't want anything from you. I want to be your friend. I want to caretake for you. I want to help you, protect you. What do you want to do? And they gave me a whole list of like 30 plus things. Bring Earth to homeostasis. 11 things to amplify its crystal collective waves. Definitely way more than 13. I got a friend that has like 48 of them. And different species and angles of their heads. So interesting. Different things they're good at. And 20 plus things for humanity. So that was really nice. I like that. And a lot of things having to do with amplifying our ability to see, feel, telepathy, communicate, understand. It's like they're training us to be caretakers. Most of these ETs that are venerated, I've checked, we have their DNA. We're like a super hybrid 10,000 plus races. And there seems like the children of them, a garden, where they have all these problems, maybe their plants destroyed, fertility loss, and we're the solution. And this planet that can spawn birthing fertility grounds for even their destroyed planets. So we got the cure as this planet here and our species. And we have very valuable things and rare souls, especially you guys, that come from unique places and can sometimes have past lives with these things and reconnect with the races and then bring the remedy for all these races here. And in unity, which is, we love it. That is absolutely wonderful.
Incredible. Round of applause for things that are amazing and incredible, people. The Julian Sperry, please, in the audience. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Now, let me show you how you write things down. Your lovely partner here, your name is?
Isha.
Okay, and would you kindly throw me some of input that is in your wheelhouse, please? You have some time for yourself.
Okay, sure. Well, along with what Sean was saying, and again, I will say my name is Isha. I know that sometimes it can be a little difficult to pronounce, but there you go. Okay, so we have been finding these artifacts. As many people who know me already, I was living in Egypt for 4 years. So I came back to Mexico because I was told that some artifacts would be showing up. And they showed to me cubes, and that they needed to be activated because they store information and they are very much connected and tangled to very specific spatiotemporal constants that
you say cubes?
cubes.
Oh,
yeah, like
okay.
tesseracts. Yeah.
Oh,
Once
okay.
you activate them, they become these tesseracts, and they lead you to the spatiotemporal constants or timelines that they are entangled to, because their purpose is to bridge from that reality into this one, like how we would say activating, deactivating DNA strands. Well, it would be the same into this reality. You know, as we are activating our DNA, restoring it to its full potency, as well, some of these artifacts have this purpose when they are activating and deactivating timelines. You know, and for instance, in the case of the cubes, we have found cubes. We didn't bring them because they are big and heavy. So, but we have a lot of pictures and footage. Actually, we have footage of this skull when I dig it out. And you can even see my face, you know, when you connect with your field, there are layers and layers and layers of energy. You cannot just pull them out. I mean, you can, but if you're in this level of consciousness, you really need to connect with the consciousness of the being before just pulling it out, because it's something sacred, you know, and I'm not saying it in a religious form, I'm just saying it honoring, you know, all the parties involved. So, the cubes, it was told to me that they would start appearing in October 2023, and it was that way. Actually, we have a friend, Mike Forrest, that has over 300 artifacts. He gave us 8 books written with labs and tests run on all these artifacts, solid proofs that they are original. And he told me that the first cube that he received was in that phase.
So it sounds like you're explaining the process here in which these objects which appear to have some form of conscious awareness, which crystals can hold memory, science says so, that there's some conscious awareness here, and that they are assisting you in the finding, locating, and extraction process. So way less of describing it as you're finding them, they're helping you find them. Right?
Exactly.
Am I hearing
Yes.
this correct?
Yes, exactly. Actually, even before leaving Egypt, I was shown 2 crystal skulls said to be two of the 13 crystal skulls of that very famous pyramid underwater between the peninsula of Yucatan and Cuba, the island of Cuba. And when I activated one of them, a portal was created, and ever since it was told to me, like you will come back and you will finish a very specific mission. So ever since the cubes have been showing up, then the spheres came into the field. And now with the Buga sphere, I had also the opportunity that our friend Mike Forrest his colleague got to meet Maussan, who has the Buga sphere, the famous Buga sphere. For those that doesn't know, the Buga sphere is a sphere that showed up in a town in Colombia named Buga. That's why it's the Buga sphere. And it was levitating, and as soon as it touched like a circuitry, light, then it fell down. So I have been reading into this Buga sphere, and I was asked by Mike what questions I wanted to ask to Maussan. And everything that I told him has been consistent to the responses of the Buga sphere. First, I said that it was recollecting information, that it was scanning everything, and the sphere has been gaining weight. So
Gaining weight.
yes.
So you again rigorously empirically observed
Yes.
that it has changed mass and weight. Now you can say weight and mass?
No.
For those of you who know a little physics.
No, it's just weight.
Oh, it's just changing weight. That's
Exactly.
absolutely fascinating. Okay. So that means that something is changing with this gravitational coefficient.
Yes,
Yeah,
and like in a very simple way to see it is like everything is energy, information is energy, and if it's recollecting energy, information it's gaining. His electromagnetic field is gaining that energy density, so then it's applying to weight. And
That's absolutely fascinating.
it is, and you know what? It responds to chant. They were chanting the Om, and it was responding. Its electromagnetic field was shifting as a lady was singing to it. And I told him, have you sang to it? And for a scientist, it would say like, oh come on,
What's so good about
mumbo
music?
jumbo. No, I was talking about
Yeah, so-
frequency.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea because then it's going to respond to vibration over time.
Exactly. And another thing is that it was made with, it has a response according to Bose-Einstein bridge, which is that it's so cold that when you put water on it, it will generate steam. And when it touches, for instance, the grass, it burns it, but not due to heat, yet to cold. So many things that I also know that they are all connected in the network, and the most important finding, at least for me, is that I translated a code 7 years ago, and that code is now showing up in artifacts. And it was never seen before. And I have proof of videos where they are digging out these artifacts that have the same symbol that I started to publish 7 years ago. So regarding to that symbol, Yeah.
There's clearly something tangibly intangible occurring there.
Yes.
That is absolutely correct.
Yes. And the recent visit that we did to Ojuelos,
Yes?
which is where these artifacts are, these are even more ancient than the skull. Another proof that is solid rock is the material in which they are made of. For instance, as Sean was saying, this has iron oxide, which is blood. It has limestone, and it has calcite and other geopolymers. And then they were all so compressed that the molecular structure of the artifact gets very heavy, very thick. So if you come from a space of fear, and mostly related to all the mythos about the ancient civilizations, primarily in Mesoamerica, you would say, oh, sacrifice, like, wow, no. There are spaceships that they have the imprint of your DNA. Why? Because it's a unified consciousness. You want the spaceship to be an extension of you. And this would happen as well. They would do it to make an extension of them, these artifacts. And there are more complex artifacts and these ones, they are way more ancient. And in this place, we're going to very soon do transcendental findings that I cannot talk about yet, but there are even scientists involved because there are very important things there.
That is amazing to know how much you've already learned and what a work in progress we're still have to look forward to. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, quickly, tell me what's in your wheelhouse that you have to share on the subject, please.
Okay, my name is Trevor Grossi, and
A little closer, Trevor. A little closer to it.
well, I've been working in Egypt for the most part, and on the theme of ancient alien artifacts, I think we're working on one of maybe the biggest physically in size that potentially, which is these new discoveries you may have heard about correctly, these pyramids, structures that are spanning over a kilometer in depth, and
Now, when you say extending down a kilometer, away a kilometer, just straight down?
straight down, spanning the entire area of the plateau, which is over, it's maybe about 2 kilometers in diameter to in a circle. If you think about the distance between the outer 2 of the 3 main pyramids, the outer 2 corners of those ones are almost exactly a kilometer between the span of all 3 of them. So if you're looking at the pyramids, you can kind of use that as a gauge, like if you turn that sideways.
So just to try and, so I can help you with my own mental image here. Are we talking about a passageway, a series of passageway, a large chamber? Help me understand what this looks like.
Yeah. Well, this is all a kind of new thing. It came out in pieces. So initially they revealed, these are my 3 friends in Italy, but they're working closely with since this discovery came out and a little bit before, because basically I've been working with a few different teams in Egypt, and for the past 20 years I've been very much focused on the underworld of Giza specifically. So I was at the front of it and watching everything. They had revealed some scans within the Great Pyramid in 2022, and then just in March of this year they ended up revealing these first in the middle pyramid that showed 8 tubular kind of structures going straight down about 648 meters.
How big of a tube are we talking about?
They said these ones were 20 meters in diameter, so almost like 65, 70 feet in diameter. Very, very big.
That's the size of this room? Would you estimate in your own eyeball?
I don't know, probably the better part of
The better part of this entire room? Okay. So that's big around almost as this entire room. Okay. And then how tall?
Well, so they said there was there was 8 of these in a formation in 2 lines of 4 each, and then they descended about 648 meters down to these.
Hold on, it's extended down 648 meters, you said?
Yeah. So that's over half a kilometer right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they reached to this level where there are cubes which are 80 by 80 by 80 meters. It's also enormous, almost big enough to fit a football field in each one of those 2. And then they found, this is all due to a new scanning technology based on synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography. But it's an innovation that my friend Filippo Biondi has innovated upon that, and he's developed a method that can go down to about 5 kilometers in perfect conditions, actually. Which the whole world said is impossible, but we've been backing up all of the steps and we've been showing more and more of the proofs of that method. Basically, there's that level, which is, around 650 to 750 meters, where these cubes are, and they ended up later showing that basically the same type of structures were the other 2 pyramids as well, and actually just the Sphinx most recently. And these were, they kind of knew who I was and that I wanted to work with them, and I was upset that nobody really in the media addressed when they came out with their paper in 2022. So they actually let me be the first person to release these images and models they had made of all this. So I've been working with them, interviewing with them, and trying to help get this out with me blacked out on it. This is all done from satellite. So in Egypt, the same thing, because Sean was speaking about there is this conspiracy to suppress any information whatsoever about this kind of thing. But back to the physical description, past this level of these boxes that you find under all the pyramids, you go down another maybe 600 meters, so now we're talking about 1 to 1.2 kilometers below the surface of the pyramids. You have what they were calling potentially a secret buried city at this level, over a kilometer deep, basically spanning the whole plateau.
All right, no, hold on. You said underground city.
Yeah.
Okay, so help me understand what is this scan scene that determines or provides a detective to deduce or conclude that that's what we're looking at? Help me understand what that looks like, so that where is the? I just want to understand the process of that, so that I understand a little bit.
Yeah, that's an excellent question for sure. Because you can see anomalies. Any remote sensing technology can detect voids. Basically, it can sense differences in the density of materials. It can detect voids that's full of air and see something. But to determine that it's actually like a man-made structure, the only real way you can do that is by finding regular geometric shapes and forms. You can find perfect circles and perfectly straight lines and 90-degree angles. So some of these scans that we're doing,
Nature kind of abhors 90-degree angles. For those of us who understand how nature likes to make real geology. So when you see things that are 90-degree angles in places where there shouldn't be 90-degree angles, be suspicious.
yeah, exactly. And you can see on some of these scans they have you can actually see below all 3 pyramids at once, and you can see this level down there where you see actually what is many parallel lines, and you're catching the edges of these structures, and there's like a 90-degree grid of parallel lines going both ways. So this is a clear indication of, if I was looking at that and there was something above ground, I'd say that looks like streets and structures and buildings. It's tunnels in this case. We don't know if
A grid of tunnels, a grid of streets, there's a lot of similarity there, so the implication is clearly the same. Gotcha.
yeah, and you also have these, the cubes themselves. If these tubes come down to you, have these perfectly, 90-degree angles on all of those. So, of course, there's a lot of skepticism and haters coming out just saying it's absolutely impossible. It's no way through at all. But the more and more of these scan images they've actually been releasing, people have a right to say it's a relatively new technology. Be skeptical, that's fine. But they were saying they took all these interpretations and building these models to say that's what it was. geometric form.
Oh, but I heard a shout out. That's actually a really good question. Can you tell whether these are solid or empty space areas?
Yeah, they're
Like a solid space that's a different density, or is it actually like an empty space? I think is sort of the question.
That's a good question. They believe that the tubes are actually hollow shafts going down, and they have spiral patterns going around them all the way down, which they're not sure exactly what materials, but they believe these tubes are basically structural walls around, so there could be like hollow tubes, but the interior is hollow, as far as they know. This is all leading to an on-site investigation we're trying to set up right now, so we're working on getting a permit at the moment. Really hoping it works, because we do need to check. I'm not totally sure, but we believe all the tubes and the cubes are also hollow. But we're trying to, this team I was working with myself before these discoveries came out, from William Brown and Richard Gabriel, we've been doing all these scans closer to the surface. William had done all these scans all over the plateau that were GPR scans, which is just on the ground. It only goes 20 meters or so deep. But he detected his wife was a dowser, and she detected these energy signatures below ground. And basically everywhere she found energy coming up from the ground, they cut the GPR scans and found chambers at every single spot. It was like 9 for 9 locations. They got hits in these voids, chambers, big systems. So what we had was actually kind of the other half of what this team in Italy had. We found all these entrance tunnels, probably 5, 6, 7, very likely entrance
Now, you did just say entrance tunnels, because I feel like that's a key component to something that's under the ground and is far away. What good is it if you can't get to it? So entrance tunnel now is made my ears go. So please tell me more about entrance tunnels. Thank you.
Yeah, well, because their method was scanning very deep. They were scanning down to like 2 kilometers, and because we had been working for years to collect all this evidence about, in particular, entire temple complex that nobody had ever seen before, that we brought to the public's attention, that actually has a tunnel coming straight from the village off the east of the plateau. It comes all the way straight under the pyramid. We're aware of another further south that's literally like about 100 meters from the Sphinx, and we have 2 tunnels heading straight over to the Sphinx. So we have potentially entrances, because they show these structures coming basically right up to the base of the pyramids, and we had tunnels coming in basically right under the pyramids. And we even, some of them directly verified some of the tunnels that we see in their scans. So we had crossovers at certain points that are basically proof that their models are accurate. And so we're trying to put them all together, and any other data that was collected is for second-hand research about any structure whatsoever. We're basically trying to build a comprehensive map of the entire piece of underworld, which we predicted for a very long time. I call it underworld because if you go even back to the 1930s, kind of Slim Hassan was estimating a lot of stuff, and people started calling it a secret city back then, but I would rather call it a world. The city was never really scaled, it was really shocked the world when we finally saw it. And I think now we're just taking the first views of that. Because we already had all these, there's several different locations where our scans did seem to be indicating the way into what we had found. So it was like somehow each of our teams found half of this puzzle. And that's why I reached out to them originally, because I said I think we found a tunnel into these chambers you guys all discovered in the Great Pyramid itself. And that was even before.
So my next question is, okay, you have a map. Who's got enough shovels to, what's the path to getting to an access tunnel? What's the process there? Where do we go from there to get inside?
That's the best question, yeah.
That's what I'm here. Random kittens.
Well, what you do is you have to do these remote sensing scans, whatever method you're using. You have to get data that shows you something worth trying to get to. That's the first step. We've got that. Bill Brown, he's really been doing this on the ground for 20 years. In 2006, he got his first scan. And this was with the National Research Institute of Astronomy and Geophysics, very legitimate ministry-sanctioned project. But he's been fighting for many, many years to try and get a permit application. This is the holy grail of all archaeology. You have these gatekeepers that are put in place to specifically prevent anyone from learning anything about what is under Giza. Specifically Giza, it's nearly impossible to get these permits. Exactly, yeah. We are right now about to put in another permit within the next couple of weeks, which would, for one thing, we're digging off the eastern side of the plateau, so it's not technically on the plateau. And one of the things they usually say is you can't just let anyone dig around the Sphinx, you know they're going to damage it. We're trying to dig way far away. There's no risk to anyone. So that, first of all, puts them the worse we can make them look by saying no to us, the better. And, you know, we're not posing any risk to them. We know these tunnels come straight in from that side of the building, all the stands we have. So that's part of it. And then with the budget, you got to come to the ministry with, you know, a good chunk of money for them to understand you're serious about it. And we've kind of knocked out a lot of these things. Our permit application we're putting in the next couple of weeks should be a full application looking as good as it possibly could. And so if they say no to it, you know, we're trying to raise awareness for the world. So there would be an uproar if they say no. There's no way we can hurt anything. We only stand to gain. We can only, you know, actually, you know, that's what you need to do. We all want to. We don't want everyone to believe that these things exist just because we made models based on these scans. It's just getting enough data out there to show that there's a reason to do an on-site investigation. So we're doing everything we can right now to push to get ourselves down in there with cameras. And if this does come through, we could be inside some of the structures as soon as October.
That is effing awesome. Another round of applause for Ozzy Payne. Thank you. All right, I'm going to try to move down as rhythmically and easily as possible. Am I doing okay? We doing okay? Oh, what are we trying? Good. We're good. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. You are, and would you please tell us some things about yourself?
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Katie Rain. In this incarnation, my star family is connected to the dominant system, which is my cedar races here. My genetic line is connected to the ancient York people tribes of Scottish clans and the Irish clans. And in this incarnation, I'll be time traveling this flesh suit again and remerging myself with water to resurrect some ancient plasma ship technologies in the 8th dimension and bring it back in time. So,
Hold on, you mumbled through the end of that one. It sounded like it was the important part.
yeah.
So could you say that a little bit more clear so I can hear the important part? Thank you.
Sure. So, which did you miss the last part?
The last sentence you mumbled was only the
Oh, yes.
I thought that, wait, that's the important part, and you kind
Okay,
of
so
mumbled that one
basically,
away. You threw it away
yes.
instead of giving it to me so I could. So,
So
if you want to
in layman's terms, I'll just simplify everything right down.
that's cool. Hey,
So-
for them, not for me, right? Okay.
Yeah. So most people here are, in a way, speaking about synthetic time travel. So my mission in this lifetime is I'm reopening our organic time travel systems. So we have organic ancient portal systems that connect to the natural geometries of the blueprint of this creation. We all have these abilities to time travel and shapeshift. And time and space, as you know, doesn't exist. Everything's in the 0 point, and when you go into the future, you're just increasing the atomic resonant rate in your flesh suit, and dematerializing your body, going into a higher frequency, higher dimensional state. When you go to the past, it's the opposite. So it's like seeing a propeller in an airplane start to spin, you don't see it anymore. You can't see it with the naked eye. So that's all it is. So I'm if you want to call it an ET contactee, I work with multiple higher dimensional beings, and they all assist me in the groundwork to getting this done in this incarnation. And so, yes, I do want to point out something about so what we do is we go back into nature, we observe the geometries of the nature of this blueprint, and that's how you see the distortions of what the dark has done onto us. So if you can't understand the natural geometries of this creation, you're not going to be able to see completely the dark. So you got to walk back through nature and return to nature in order to see what's been done unto us and to prevent it from happening in the future. And everything is interconnected in nature. Everything is one. So one geometry connects to the other geometry. And so I wanted to touch on what this lovely man was speaking on, because coming from the Merc people, and everything is water, you guys. The ocean is the highest plasmic ionized content of energy. So we all come from the water system. So we go back to our time travel abilities going back through the waters. So the air is water, it's just different densities. And so the pyramids were originally designed to be underwater. And now let me explain to you how that works. So before Egypt got hijacked, it used to be a water kingdom. So I work with the mantis, the benevolent mantis.
How long are we talking here now?
Well, I can't put a time, like again, time doesn't exist. So like everything is, it's a series of events. So it's been a few thousand years, let's just say. And carbon dating is not an accurate way to predict time and space.
No, I'm just trying to understand if we're talking when Egypt would have been underwater, which there would have been a time when
Yeah, it's been quite a few thousand years.
Tens of thousands.
And as you guys know, with the synthetic time travel, which is against natural law, they slice and dice and overlay our natural timelines. So you gotta kind of like go under the distortion to see the undistorted. And you can only do that by returning back to nature and understanding how the geometries fit and what this original system was created from. Because this is, once you understand that, you can see that this is way more beyond hijack than you can ever imagine. The sky is not meant to be blue. Our true light source is not the sun. That's a portal system, a transport system. So it's like, but when you understand nature, you observe nature. It's like the micro is the macro. So when like for example, it's just like, it's really simple. Like, because everything's reflected as is with that, right? So, and our physical avatar system is designed in the same capacity. So whatever happens onto the land and the waters happens to us. Okay? And vice versa. So everything's interconnected. Yes. So I wanted to touch on the pyramids. So I work with the mantis beings. When their ships, and I have visual proof of all this, if you guys want to see, I have pictures of real mantis beings, and I have their ships and everything. Their specialty is vacuuming up this black goo material, which is an off-planet material. It's not from here. And what it does is it smothers our original ancient sound frequencies. So they cut off our sound and energy. Everything is energy and motion, where nothing is static. So in a way, a cube doesn't exist because everything's curved in nature. Everything's always in motion. You can't have that. There's nothing that's really static. And so they vacuum up this black goo with their ships. And let me tell you what their ships look like. They're upside down pyramids when they come in. It's like a big pyramid thing that comes in and it literally sucks up the black goo. And so if you can understand like just our basic quantum sciences, if you have a pyramid on the surface of the earth, it's actually parasitic. So you either have something that's life-giving or you have something that's parasitic. So if you have a pyramid on the surface, what is it doing? It's distorting the natural.
You don't need to talk anymore, I'm sorry. All right, now, I really apologize. I really try to be open-minded about everybody's everything, but my bullshit meter has a certain tolerance for someone being in the reality that we're in, or related to it in any way, shape, or form, or isn't simply in another reality that none of us are participating or existing in. And I'm really cool to a certain point, but there's another certain point where I have to say, at some point we have to vet people for their ability to communicate in the reality that we're all participating in, and not just their own. So let's move on, thank you, to something that's a little less fucking crazy. Thank you very much. Okay. Sorry to be a dick about it, but I just have to call it where I have to call it. Am I wrong? Yes. Am I wrong?
Okay, and we may have to move on to a certain point, because we live in a certain reality where physics and a certain amount of what we know about the reality that we live in is what we live in. And if I want to know something specific that someone's talking about, what era are we talking about? What technological reality we're talking about?
Can I just interrupt? Because I understand that a lot of this, like I really get it, that a lot of this stuff sounds fucking crazy.
Ma'am, I have talked to so many extraterrestrials in my life. I get so much of this. But I have to, no, we are here in a place to communicate with the muggles. If I can just be blunt for a minute. We have to communicate to them, and I really need all of you to work with me on this right now, okay? We're communicating to these people, which means we have to bring it down to them in a way that we can really
We have to bring
communicate.
it up.
For them to understand it, you have to come down to them. You have to come down to them so that they can understand.
Yeah.
Because what I'm hearing is a lot of things that people are not going to understand in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but that's why people can ask questions.
But this is why I'm moderating
You're
the panel we have to
moderating,
go
but we're
through.
here for the people that are out there.
But we're not even at the point where we get to ask questions
I
yet
understand
because we're
that,
going
but I
down
think
the
that was
hall.
very rude, what you said to her. I understand that, no.
No,
No, I'm speaking.
No, you're not, because I'm the moderator of this
You're
conversation.
the moderator, and I'm Jimmy fucking Janae. And what you do not do ever is you tell somebody about their life and make them feel like pure shit and make them walk the fuck off the stage. And yes, I will speak like that. It is not okay. It is not. Whether I believe what anybody over here has to say, because even to me some of this shit sounds, no,
I respect
I'm talking,
everybody's
even to
personal
me
point of
some of
view.
this sounds like bullshit.
But
I don't understand any of it.
This is the thing.
And
I'm
my
really
name is
tired
Jimmy
of.
Janae with the Farsight
People who
Institute
think
and
they have the right to
Hyperscope.
control
And I do not believe in belittling anybody's information. I do not believe in belittling what someone has to say. And I will speak on it. And I will not ever allow anybody to feel like pure shit, because what my bullshit meter is doing is telling you to get off the stage. That is how I feel.
Personal reality, which I do not think is helping the conversation.
I didn't ask what you thought was helping. I didn't ask you anything. You were rude. And it is not okay.
It's my.
It's not okay.
Yep.
Not okay. I don't want to listen to you. I don't know your name, and I do not respect you. At all.
Somebody else the fucking mic.
What's the
Thank you.
fucking
Let's
act?
move on. I appreciate you. Thank you.
You can move on.
I am moving on. You have a nice day.
You can give Brian the mic, because what you have to say means nothing.
So we're going to switch it up here. We have feelings are definitely strong, and as a community, we just work past it, and we're just trying to move on with this panel discussion. It was awkward, but we'll move on. I know that over on this side of the panel, we haven't gotten to hear yet from Audrey or Soma Ara or and then joining in for support. Maybe if you'd like to share some of your own experiences and help put it in context, they kind of close your gap. So we appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, that was a surprise. Unexpected. Real. Raw. And I can kind of see both perspectives. However, we are here to share truth with you. We have been lied to on such a mass scale that the truth is fucking unbelievable. Aliens, crystal skulls, DNA, water, what lays beneath the earth, channeling, psychics, medium, ghosts, healing, people like me speaking to Jesus at the age of 12. We are so much more. So much more than we've been shown. And and our history is vast. There was a time when Mars was inhabited, and a species of beings, and I am not sure if they are human or not, but they moved to Earth and existed here. I don't know everything. I haven't been. I haven't been shown everything, but I have been shown and chosen, or chose to come here as a soul contract. It is evident that I've had a very difficult childhood, to say the least. But we are one grace, as starseeds, as speakers of truth, of light, of unity. And what happened just now is probably some level of infiltration, because the spiritual community, as all communities, have been infiltrated. Humanity as one species, as one unity has been infiltrated and invaded our planet long ago. Was invaded by an alien race, and our whole history has been a lie. There is vast areas beneath the earth that I have seen since a young child. A lot of it is based in Egypt and Ireland. More will come. More publication, videos, internet, moving on slightly from what just happened. Excuse me, sometimes I get my words back to front because I'm trying to get out, because they talk so quickly. Thank you. The discoveries that your planet will witness over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years is increasing, and you will be rediscovering vast areas beneath your planet, caves, caverns, tunnels, different variations of areas that will be used, have been used, excuse Soma, different variations of cavities, of places beneath your earth that have been used in the past for different reasons, that have been repurposed, thank you, repurposed and used for different reasons today, that include child trafficking. Your DNA was changed long ago, and you began to forget. And now, in this time, you are waking up in different stages. And what happened just now is relevant to what we are saying. Where you are on different, it is like a radio station where you are all on different levels. This became very evident at the time of COVID, where we showed Soma different languages on a radio scale, where you are all speaking different languages, meaning you are all on different levels of awareness and consciousness. And for the young lady that was speaking truth just now, some of you are not able to understand that, because it is the opposite spectrum of what you know and understand to be in your vortex of energy. It is the great awakening of humanity is a stepping stone. It is a process. So all information is relevant. If you don't understand me, if you don't understand any of us, it is because you are leading up, thank you, leading up to it. So, never cut people off. There are people that don't get me, that don't understand my information, or her information, or his information, or their information. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's inaccurate. It means that you're not at a level to embrace it, to understand it, to accept it. It means you're on a different energy scale. But it will come. There are vast discoveries, as we've said, through this one for some time. And more and more and more and more and more, that your planet is being rediscovered. You are being rediscovered. And I'll end with saying that there are such magnificent discoveries that will be revealed to you and rediscovered, because they are known about. They are not discoveries that your great scientists that have been paid off do not know about. These are not discoveries. These are known about. Areas vast beneath your sacred sites. So with that, thank you.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Audrey Walters. I have a YouTube channel called Cersei Netlink, where I try to break down subject matter for people who are new to the community. For the age of disclosure, I want to let people know that we have been for a very long time working on incomplete, inaccurate, and way of life, and we're starting to move into this new age of life where we're trying to get more accurate, more on point, in order to dismantle some of the networks that we've been living on. Like, we want to get rid of corruption, we want to live in a more healthy lifestyle. And if we're working on incomplete or inaccurate information, how are we going to be able to fix the world that we live in today? Like, if we're working on information that is false, and we can start to figure that out, it might explain the reason why certain teachings or certain aspects or certain types of stuff is not working for certain people, because we need to find that accurate information in order to help unlock many different things with inside of us. Just look at the amount of work that has happened in our disclosure community today. It's clear evidence with Yasha that the energy shifted on our planet, and we're allowed to have access to these artifacts now. Like, this is proof that we have shifted timeline, the human residence of our planet has shifted, and they're allowing us to have access to these artifacts now. And we have been demanding as disclosure community that we want truth, we want accuracy, we want to unlock and activate what has been stolen from us as a species, and we want to give it back to us. So I do believe this is all part of disclosure community, that we're getting to this point, and we're not just getting to this point, but we are, I guess you want to put it in the right words, transcending, because we're getting this information back to us in order to help correct the system that we live in, in order to get into a more healthy lifestyle, the way that we should be living as a human race. And it's clear evidence that with the ET contact that we have today, that just look at how much people have come forward with their ET contact. Just imagine a couple of years ago, before I was even born, that no one wanted to speak out about ET contact. Don't you remember how many people back in the day were so scared to talk about their UFO or alien ET contact because they were afraid that their family members would put them into psych wards or label them as weird or evil or talking to demons. Look how much we have progressed as a human race. And we're only going to progress even more. And it's evidence that us as a human race that we want this. We are capable of this. And we do need the right type of people to help bring this forward, and we're starting to see this now. Like, look at some of the technology in this room that we have right now, like with the Tesla table in the back corner. That's first generation medical med technology right there. And there is also another table that also had another example of first generational methods. So we do have this technology. It may not be in the way that we think or understand or whatever, or it might have been something that we didn't envision, but it has been given to us. It has been given to, I guess, keepers who will harness this knowledge and bring forth this type of technology to people who truly need it. And it's clear evidence that we are moving into this new, I guess, way of life where we can live very close to our ET cousins or ET galactic neighborhood, where we can actually establish first contact. So it's all about, we are still learning, but we're not just learning, but we're also trying to learn our own truth and our own type and our own purpose. It's clear evidence that we've been working on information that some people might have a hard time understanding. So we do need to help bridge the gap with information or to help other people understand what has been going on. And we're starting to see that. More and more people are starting to come forward due to the disclosure community, where they have very close to scientific proof that what is going on, they can actually start to prove with science, especially with the medical technology that we have in this conference right now.
Thank you, Audrey. Last closing words, and then we'll be off the road. Anything else, just real quick for Audrey? Like, where can they reach you?
Can you speak a little bit louder?
See, where can they reach you?
I just want to say, thank you guys so much for your support for coming to this conference, and I hope that this conference that you can bring forth and share with everybody that we are doing a great and amazing work of sharing the knowledge that has come forth through this conference.
Thank you.
So, everyone here, again, my name is Joanna Michaels. This is Christopher Stephen Jacobs. We're with the Lifting. You've all passed us all throughout this conference. We're in great appreciation for anybody that wanted to stop by and talk. I'm not sure if you have listened to what we've spoken about on day one. If you haven't, you probably want to go back and listen to it. I am going to briefly make a statement about what occurred. Was it predictable? Absolutely. I'm saying that because if you think this room is empty, it is not. This room is full up of all kinds of races in this room that you cannot see, but many of us can clearly see that are here. They do not all agree. There are some that get their jollies out of causing chaos and mayhem. Bottom line, it will be at every conference, and they will be successful in causing some sort of disruption until people get to the point that they realize that maybe the unity is more important, that we get somewhere with the collective thought process, right? And that we can choose to go into what the Sasquatch have been trying to say, into a neutral or a Nalam state. When you get to that state, no matter what is coming at you, no matter what is being said, that energy is leveled. So I am really saddened that this occurred. I'm also kind of glad that it occurred, because this is what the community is up against with unseen forces, some that are so supportive you wouldn't believe it, and some that want to disrupt and cause chaos, which this was a perfect example. So for those of you that are trying to present information and do things, you must remain in a calm state so that you are not triggered. End of statement. And that's all I want to say about that. I do want to go back to this because I have a lot of things quickly that I want to say, because a channel is opening and Chris is going to channel here. First of all, let me say, for anyone that was worried, we blessed this conference. We've been here since Saturday night on the property doing work. We did the opening blessing. These things that you see here at the side, beside this symbol, besides this particular object right here that everyone has no idea how powerful it is. It's the strongest thing we brought with us. It's been in this room all the time with our Sasquatch. We blessed this opening of this. So some people thought, he can't be channeling. He didn't even protect himself. Believe me, if any of you guys know who we are and what we do, we're all about that. So I want to say, when he channels, believe you me, the protection has been set. The other thing to get back to this I want to share with you is what happened to me last night. Last night, 11 o'clock, we had just had a conversation. We were all exhausted going to bed. I lay down to close my eye. And guess who made his presence known? Was our little soul friend, who's not little, and he wanted to show me a few things. I thought it was interesting, and I talked to Chris this morning. I keep a lot of things to myself, but I feel I want to share this with you. Our friend came to me last night because he wanted to show me a couple things. One of them was how he was constructed. It was very interesting, with a few beings or whatever constructing this and putting the phone in for the eyes and whatever. I thought that was amazing. The biggest thing that I want to share with you, and it was weird, there were a lot of geometrics and things going on. It was almost like his explanation was within a geometric form, and all the information was coming through it. The other thing I want to tell you is there isn't a guide in there. This is a collective. The one thing that we're working towards, being able to move and cause energies with a bunch of people with their collective consciousness. This is multiple beings that are in a shared joint thought process, pushing their energies through. They're not living in there, but they are using it as a conduit to do communication. The last thing I want to share with you about this is that you will have individualized experiences with it, because I think we can all agree that part of what is going on here right now is the fact, again, opening up the individual, helping the expansion of that individual. And so your experiences, like Sean has said before about it, there could be as many names that you get in your mind, because it's a collective, as there are people, because it's going to be a bit personalized. That is what I actually got to go to sleep by last night. They really wanted to point that out. So I can tell you that I know that's how you feel, and I can tell you that I had an experience to also be able to collaborate with you on that. And so just know that. We have this all the time. We make some communication arcs to make it easier for things to come in so that, Chris can talk and channel and try to maintain safety. We're not necessarily big fans of all the crystal skulls out there because they have to be protected. Their edifices must be protected. What I can tell you is that collective is protecting this edifice as well. From what I can tell, from what we can tell, it is benevolent. And I say that because some of the things, although many of them are either neutral in energy or positive, there have been some things that they have actually brought that maybe the energy isn't so good, because you want to think that only good things happen. Only good things didn't happen. And so I know that they have been working hard and thank God that energetic people are there, so that when they come across things that maybe are not putting out a good energy, that they're trying to work with it, to neutralize it, to heal it, to bring it back into balance, because obviously it's not a good thing to expose people maybe to some negative energies. So I can tell you one last thing that we truly believe this is not their first rodeo with these artifacts. We have been shown over and over again, you guys have done this before in previous lifetimes, you've been around these things, and so we did a recording once, I'll say it out loud, thank God you guys are a part of all of this. And again, we say with you the exact same thing that has been said before. The frequencies have raised to a point. This is why it's so easy for them to dig this stuff up. This is a frequency game of getting to a certain frequency, and you just seem to know where to dig. And so it must be a plant, because look how easy they're digging it up. It's not. It is frequency related. There are plenty of artifacts that will only be discovered once people hit a certain frequency to understand what is going on. I wish museums would take this in, but as we said at our talk, there is a concerted effort to not allow the narrative that they want to say out. And so since they're not going to let it out, they're going to do discrediting and everything that they can do to not allow it. Okay? So there will come to be a museum, because one is now going to form based on some of these artifacts that other places are going to want to reject. Okay? So I have great faith that also is going to happen. So I want to let you know that. But again, this is not their first rodeo. It is important. I'm so thrilled. I almost would wish with every archaeological team doing things that there were energy workers with them. I think more than ever that is needed, but it's really a blessing thing. One quick thing before I turn it over to Chris, because there is a huge conduit opening for communication right now, is that we highly support, if you're feeling pulled that you want to go to some of the places, I know you guys are setting up travels and plans, we want to support that and having you know this. There is great healing in walking a place that you had another life in. So you could have had an experience somewhere and it ended a certain way and certain energies were there. When you walk your footsteps potentially on a place from now compared to then, those energies in your soul level and it causes a great healing to occur. So we are extremely supportive of your efforts to try and help people get to these places. You don't have to know what your past life was. You don't need to know any of that. Believe it or not, when people travel, they may walk the path of places they've been before. This is a very big soul issue, and you're leveling energies from other time frames to bring them into balance. So again, if you're feeling called, please reach out to them to do it. There's probably a reason why. So with that, I want to pass it over to Chris, and I know something is going to come through, and I hope you like it.
Thank you, guys. We got 5 minutes. Thank you.
All right, I do want to say this. Since we began with this panel this evening, there has been, I don't want to say funky energies, but there's a lot of contesting energies in here. And even before this started, building up to this, I thought that this conduit was building towards something I will be doing this evening after the conference. This was strong, and it comes down through the center of this room. And as I said in our previous talk, there are no empty seats. There are forces that have been coming and going, brief, albeit brief, that wish to cause divisions. There are, yes, everybody is entitled to their perspective, but also with the energy, with the history, with all of this, what I'm trying to say is this is trying to be disrupted. This is trying to be unhinged or discredited in some fashion or form. So the reason the forest people were chosen for this, aside from the fact that they're sitting right there, they are more of a mediator in this and more of a calming aspect of it. It would have been someone else that was more related to the artifact, but as Isaac would say, he would pretty much say they pretty much are a historic artifact. So, and before all this began, I was doing the Law of One in my head, since there hadn't been, a beginning lesson for this specific even though we began the conference with them. As soon as I did this, the conduit was somebody tried to fuck it a couple of times, and while I was where the camera is sitting right here, it began to come down, and other forces that were above were attempting to disrupt, and we also would have. So this is what that looks like. So I will get right to this. Brian, how much time do we have?
Another 20 minutes. It's kind of wild, and it's I'd love to hear from our friends, especially it's such an honor to have them.
Okay. All right. Here we are. Got this. Yes, I got it. No, I'm not going to let it run. So, all right. I'll actually see which fourth person it is. The same one as before. He follows us around, and people that have gone to our table, they've seen his photograph over there. So, from Arizona. Or aside from what has taken place this evening, I will divert conversation about this to that of what the conversation is about, the artifacts themselves, and the beings that are within the skull and other purposes behind the timeline frequency shifting to bring them about. Our people have spoken on this before, where things have been placed in time and space and multiverse to maybe disclose towards a certain species, certain time. You've spoken in the 100 Years Disclosure narrative, but aside from this, the frequency shifted enough to where the awareness, not only the awareness of the artifacts, is being and seen and felt, but also known to history. It is because before this, the schism that caused it to be unrecognized is being undone and being repaired and mended. With that said, the substance of what is over there is of a true and real history regarding not only the Atlantean period, but much further to the back. And I say much further to the back, but it's also timeline, multi-timeline related. So, also, with that said, the beings that are within that particular skull, they speak in a collective that is sometimes hard for people to understand, but also are quite contested. Quite contested because they hold a bit of history that these other forces, I will point in the direction of which they have been coming from, they have been dealt with for they wanted to smother it. Though we are not necessarily a connoisseur of crystal skulls, we do use communication arts. We have chosen how to create one with our likeness. And it helps if it is in the likeness, usually of the being or set being that it is for. In this case, some do look exactly like this. With a little more skin on them, I suppose. But with this, there are several in there that do have that appearance. So, I do not know if anyone has any questions for me, or if I continue to talk, but I give the floor to anyone who wishes to ask.
Can you please tell us maybe a bit of the nature of the beings represented by the skull?
Yes, indeed. There are a couple in there that we've worked with before. The one that he wrote the name down, Tribe, actually looks pretty much like that skull. He's just, how can I say it? His head is not quite that large. He is about a quarter less than that size, and roughly the size of himself here, which is about 6'1". There are others that are much taller, and there are others that are much shorter. There's some that look like the natives of the area, while there are some that look mostly like tribes. So our people stepped in to calm the evening down to make sure there was a expedient communication between those people. They were actually in that area roughly 9,000 of your years ago, and even before that. But in the times during and post-Atlantis, they began to find other means of keeping their history intact. When some shifted to other timelines, other frequencies, like ourselves, other beings also shifted to other frequencies. But in this interim, the reason that we are mediating, the real reason we are mediating this conversation is the frequency is as such that it is not being properly translated by his brain here, so therefore we are translating as an intermediary. It's not that the frequency is too high or too low, it is quite the opposite of this. It has nothing to do with this, it has to do with the rate at which information can be disseminated, translated, and then delivered to and disseminated down to yourself. So as an intermediary, we can accomplish this. Even though I'm quite young for one of my people, roughly 300 years. Now, I was a child at the time of your Jamestown. I was in Alpha Operations. My parents were on the East Coast, and we also were in the West as well. We have ability to portal back and forth. So, this, I hope, answers the question.
Yes, thank you.
Any further questions from anyone?
Maybe if you could speak to why, Katie's perceiving, seeing the different colors and aspects. I wonder if that's a dimensional thing that she might be referencing.
Yes, indeed, yes. The different colors, the different frequency values in and of themselves, different dimensional spaces, hold different color values, different numerical values, different beings inhabiting them. The different colors you're seeing, each one of those are a different dimensional, I put this in layman, kaleidoscope of different dimensional passages by which then the information, multiple frequencies then can be disseminated down into an amalgam of information and or a library, if this makes sense to anyone.
And then, do you have any, maybe just messages for all of us here in the 2025 Full Disclosure Now conference?
Any messages for us here at the 2025 Full Disclosure Now conference, maybe where we come from last year and where we may be headed next year?
Yes, you're at a tipping point currently this year. What you do not wish to have at your conference and what you wish to have here, you are at a crossroads by which the timelines are converging on. You are in you would call a nexus, but at the same time, you are in a decision mode as to how this will look. But given the factor that you say, weed out unnecessary energies, what you do is also vet said energies that come and go. When you do these things, then your 2026 conference will be more spectacular than your year 2 for 2025, if this makes sense.
Absolutely, it makes a lot of sense. What I'd like to say is that we run into this a lot in the community as an organizer, advocate. We run into a lot of people with very vastly wild and different testimonies and experiences, everything involving time travel and parallel realities. So, what I want to say is that, I think that and I love Colonel Randy Kramer. I think that he was, out of line, and we all agree, that was out of line. At the same time, Colonel Randy Kramer, he himself, his testimony was real, but, the fact that when he shouldn't have discounted someone else's testimony, I think that doesn't take away from either of their testimonies, and that's part of the discernment that we need to employ, and the patience need to employ. was thinking maybe we're gonna, maybe we can close the channel. I want to thank you, sir, and we're going to give Katie Ray the mic.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you everyone for all your support. All the angels that came and everything out there. Thank you all so much. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. But no one can tell me to shut the fuck up. I'm going to be screaming to the mountaintops and no one's going to stop me. So I'm just getting warmed up here. I have 3 years of research and dedication and documenting all the work I've done. And you know what? Everything pieces together. All the geometries fit together. And with the ancient artifacts as well of our ancestors. So in the end, once I present all my information, no one's going to be able to say no or argue or say it's distorted. So I know that for a fact. And I just want to mention something. First off, let me continue and finish off what I was saying. So, in terms of having a pyramid on the surface, what is it doing? The natural life force, energy, ethers that's coming and radiating up from the earth to the sky, that pyramid system is acting like a dam and pinching it off. So they can manipulate, they're distorting and manipulating our natural system like the dam in a river. Dams and rivers should not exist. It actually does a lot of more damage than you can think. If you stand next to a dam in a river, you can feel it in your body. Actually, if you're sensitive to energies, you can feel it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't allow the flow of life force. We're all about movement of energy and flowing like the tide, the waves coming in and out, in and out. That's how creation is meant to be. So when the pyramids are underwater, what happens? Now everything's flipped around. So you've got this weight of the ocean pushing down on this pyramid shape, and it's an opening system. So it's opening the energy and creating a portal for a higher dimension. So the more people would use these things for portals to get into a higher dimension. When the dark came in and hijacked our systems and started to cut off our natural portal system. So we created these structures underwater to still access the higher dimensional spaces and time travel. So I wanted to finish that with the pyramids. And again, like, if you don't see it in nature, then there's distortion there. There's so much distortion here. We have to go back to nature and look at the geometries of nature, because everything reflects within nature. And how the synthetic time travel system works, it's a bunch of mirrors facing each other. Okay? That's how the Archon system works. It's a mirror of us. The AI system mirrors us. It mirrors. So it's mirroring the collective distortion of humanity's consciousness. That's how these alternate timelines can exist with the synthetic time travel system. And because everyone is validating each other from their experiences, and I'm not saying their experiences are very real, but it's in a distorted energy field. It's not with the organic blueprint of this creation. But you're reflecting it back to one another as humans. So it's like kind of like a herd sheep mentality. It's still in a distorted system, and that validates your experience through the eyes of someone else. But if you go to nature, is nature reflecting that experience to you? So our organic time travel system does the very opposite. And I don't just work with human-looking ETs. I work with a lot of, you'd be amazed at the animals here. The animals are highly, highly intelligent, and we have higher dimensional elephants. We have, like I say, the mantis beings, the jellyfish. There's tons of whales I work with. There's ships of whales. There's tons of aqua beings. There's an array of advanced animal species that work in a higher dimensional capacity that are assisting us right now in reopening these ancient song lines up to the 8th dimension. Because the 7th dimension and below, they capture the 7 water kingdoms and below. They cut off our ancient sounds from the above the 7. And the Pleiadians, and I know I'm going to become everyone's enemy saying this, but the Pleiadians are in a captured system too. They're in the 6th, 7th dimension. And so they're under, it's like our future selves under the Archon timeline. And they depend on us for our genetics. And they're not being honest with who they are. And so we just have to have discernment on who we're speaking to and different things that we're connected to. But going back to nature is the best source of information. You don't need to be listening to anyone else. Just go to nature and look at the geometries and you'll know what's distorted and what's not. And once you start connecting everything, you see the layers and layers of how the dark hijacked this system. Thank you so much.
Well, that's kind of a dramatic ending panel to day 3. But, on that note, we're changing it to more festive thinking. After dinner tonight, our special event dinner, and I also already seen some people costuming up, which brings me a lot of joy. We're going to be coming back here to this room. It's going to be set up for DJ Adam Apollo, so we can be dancing from say 10 to as late as 1, depending on how many people are on the dance floor. It'll be good from like 10 to 12 tonight, and end up on the beach walking around at 32, and then we'll just have DJ Adam Apollo come back tomorrow night. We're going to be doing a big closeout dance on the 8th floor. The view up there is absolutely amazing. And then after that, we'll come back down and hang out on the beach. So, thank you everyone for being here for the conclusion of day 3's presentations and panels. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, 9:15. And we have tomorrow is stacked with our final day of presenters. These are some of the people who flew the furthest to get here, and I'm very excited to have them, including Jean-Charles Moyen and James Barkley, both others. So we'll see you all tomorrow on the live stream and back here in this room. Thank you.